This is the 2021 Lexus RC350. As a member of the RC family, it's meant to be the Lexus's sporty and exciting coupe to get people without AARP subscriptions excited. So does it? It's got a naturally aspirated V6, which is a rarity in these days. It displaces 3.5 liters and it makes 311 horsepower. You've got 6 speeds on your gearbox and you have paddles mounted on your steering wheel, so when you're in full lock in a corner, you can still grab another gear to upshift. And it's got all-wheel drive, so you get maximum grip when you're launching. So what does that all come together to be? 0 to 60 is done in just under 6 seconds, which is not what I would personally consider blistering, but this being the F-Sport trim of the RC, you do get special stuff like retuned suspension. That means you get adaptive damping on all 4 corners, and you get a torsen LSD that manages your torque split all the way around the car, since this is all-wheel drive, and that actually does a really nice job at picking up what wheel needs the power in a corner, because this thing actually handles pretty dang well. It corners flat, it's got a good feel to it, the ride is supple, and it's still Lexus, and you almost forget that it's 3,750 pounds. It's actually pretty fun. And I like the way the NA engine revs out. The key word here is naturally aspirated. This is a field where you really don't get much of that anymore. The V6 revs out in a linear and predictable fashion, and the sound that goes with it is much better than something you'd get from a 330i or a C-Class. However, this RC350 is a bit of a tweener, and I can't help but miss the torquiness of the B58 in the M340 or the turbo V6 in the C43. Ultimately, the RC350 comes together dynamically as a perfectly satisfactory driving experience, if not lacking the slightest hint of drama. Sure, but this is a Lexus, which means there's a lot more to the car than simply beating on it from behind the wheel. The thing that I like most about this RC isn't being on the ragged edge of performance and pushing the car to its limits, it's more just actually being in the car, the livability and the comfortability of the cabin, and that's pretty true of all the Lexus stuff, but you know what's also true about the Lexus stuff is it comes with a level of uniqueness. And sure, the interior here, it's due for the next generation interior, I'll say it that way. It is showing its age in some of the way that the buttons are laid out, and I'm very familiar, I like this way that you control your climate controls with the little silver slider, but it is showing its age in terms of the design. But like we said, all of the stuff works really well, it all makes sense. Your HVAC controls are manual, and pretty much if you can avoid going anywhere near the infotainment screen, you'll have a good time. And if you zoom out and actually look at the interior, objectively the design is very pretty. It's beautiful in here. I love the Oreo interior. The white leather gets me every single time, so Jen or whoever specs the Lexus press cars, you've done it again. Nice job. And then there's all the creature comforts like heated and cooled seats and 10-way adjustable seats. And technology is pretty current, and it gives you everything you would want, like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, even if they're not wireless. You can get the car Wi-Fi enabled, and Alexa will help you out with some menial tasks, and you do get a pretty comprehensive safety suite to boot. And it all kind of comes together at the end of the day for a very pleasant driving experience that's very Lexus. The suspension in the ride is actually surprisingly adept and dynamic for wearing a Lexus badge. It does stand up in a corner, and you can push it a little bit, even with the heavier all-wheel drive system, but it is also still comfortable and soft and quiet and refined enough to spend hours and hours and hours on the highway. You get onto the interior and you're surrounded by supple, soft leathers, precise stitching, a good mix of materials, so it's not just a black hole of plastic like you get in some other competitors. So it comes together to be something that's really unique. And sure, when you get to the technology, that's where this car is missing out a little bit. That's where it's starting to show its age. Some of the button layout that we talked about, navigating the technology, it has some of the things like the Apple CarPlay and the Android Auto, but it is missing some of the modern nuance of like the wireless aspect of those features. So I expect that to come in the next year or two, but at the end of the week, I'm left with the impression that there are a couple faults, but it's been a very nice companion for the last week. So the Lexus RC, in 350 form at least, is a bit of an outlier. In a turbo field, it stays with a naturally aspirated V6. In a segment that prioritizes technology and gimmicks, it's refreshingly simple. And while competitors like BMW are pushing the sports car narrative and Mercedes are pushing opulence, the Lexus RC delivers a comfortable balance. The problem is price. In 350 F-Sport trim, it starts at over $55,000, which puts it over the Audi S5 and the Mercedes C43, but delivers noticeably less performance and drama due to its naturally aspirated V6 and not having a turbo. So if you want the most zip for your dollar, you may want to look elsewhere. But if reliability and balance matter to you, then the Lexus RC might be worth a look.